His last words were, "The seed is strong."
In George R.R. Martin's epic fantasy series, A Song of Ice and Fire, there are a lot of people with secret identities, the prime example being Jon Snow. Jon Snow was not Ned Stark's trueborn son, but rather his nephew. He was named after Ned's second father, Lord Jon Arryn. In the current timeline, 3 other children with secret identities are Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen Baratheon. They were not King Robert's biological children, but rather Cersei and Jaime's. And Lord Jon Arryn is intimately connected to these 3 children as well. As Hand of the King, Jon Arryn negotiated Robert's marriage to Cersei, and instead of stripping Jaime of his white cloak and sending him to the wall, as Ned Stark had suggested, Jon Arryn convinced Robert to keep Jaime by his side as one of his Kingsguard. On top of that, Stannis told Jon Arryn about his suspicions regarding those children many years later, and Lord Jon Arryn's dying words were, "The seed is strong." So it makes you wonder, what about his own son, Robert Arryn? Is Robert Arryn, or Sweetrobin, really Jon Arryn's son? As you can see from the comments on my last video, there are hardcore, very well-versed fans of the story on both sides of the debate. Some think Sweetrobin is Jon Arryn's son, and some buy into the theory that Sweetrobin is Littlefinger's son. I'm one of the latter. Here's why. The very first time that we ever heard about Sweetrobin was in a conversation between Ned Stark and Robert Baratheon, and Robert said, quote, "The son is not the father." King Robert was simply referring to Sweetrobin being a sickly little child unable to be the Warden of the East, as his father, Jon Arryn, was. But considering the fact that Jon Snow was named after Jon Arryn, considering the fact that Sweetrobin was named after Robert, considering the fact that Jon Arryn was intimately connected to Cersei and Jaime's baseborn children, and knowing how George R.R. Martin loves to be cheeky with his wordplay, this very first line ever about Sweetrobin, "The son is not the father," it very well may be an Easter egg that Sweetrobin is not actually Jon Arryn's son. In order to analyze this, we can look at 2 things. First, Jon Arryn's ability to have children, or rather, his inability to have children. And second, Littlefinger and Lysa Tully's relationship. Before wedding Lysa Tully, Jon Arryn was married twice, but his first 2 wives had left him childless. So there's a chance that something was wrong with Jon Arryn's seed. But luckily for him, Jon Arryn fostered Ned and Robert in their youth. So he had children, though not of his own blood. Ned and Robert both loved him. He was like a father to them. And they were like the sons he had never had. The 3 of them were very close, which is why they teamed up when they rebelled against the Mad King. In order to cement an alliance with Hoster Tully of Riverrun, Ned Stark wed Catelyn Tully, and Jon Arryn wed Lysa Tully. But here's the thing. Lysa was very young at the time, whereas Jon Arryn was already an old man. Half his teeth were gone. He was 20 years older than Lysa's own father, Hoster Tully. So if you do the math, that makes Jon Arryn almost 50 years older than Lysa. Was he even able to have children after they wed? Well, Lysa went on to have 2 stillborns and twice as many miscarriages, according to the Blackfish. And according to Lysa herself, she lost 3 girls and 2 boys. So just as with his first 2 wives, Jon Arryn struggled to have a child with Lysa. But then, Lysa had a badass son. Oh, that's a lie. Lysa gave birth to sickly little Sweetrobin. So, did Jon Arryn finally get lucky as an old man? Or is Littlefinger actually Sweetrobin's biological father? Let's look at Littlefinger and Lysa's relationship now. Let's look at it in detail to see if the timeline would even permit this. Littlefinger was fostered at Riverrun, so he grew up with Cat and Lysa Tully. Ever since they were children, Lysa was obsessed with Littlefinger, but Littlefinger was always obsessed with her older sister, Catelyn. One night, Catelyn denied Littlefinger, and he got very drunk. He passed out at the table, and the Blackfish brought him upstairs so that his older brother Hoster Tully wouldn't find young Littlefinger drunk and discipline him. Lysa then went to Littlefinger to comfort him, and they got down and dirty. It was Lysa's first time. Unfortunately for her, while they were doing it, Littlefinger called her Cat. Maybe he was drunk, or maybe he was obsessed with Cat. Maybe both. But the point is, Littlefinger and Lysa did it in their youth, more than once. The second time, Lysa got pregnant. She never had that child, though, because her father made her drink moon tea. Fast forward to Robert's rebellion. Lysa married Jon Arryn, their side won the rebellion, Robert became king, and Robert appointed Jon Arryn as his hand. So Jon Arryn and Lysa were at court in King's Landing, and after some time, Jon Arryn brought Littlefinger to court as well. While in King's Landing, Jon Arryn did his duty in the bedchamber, but according to Lysa, he could no more give her pleasure than he could give her children. His seed was old and weak. And take this with a grain of salt, but Littlefinger told Tyrion that he had been with Lysa a few times. We don't know when those times were, but the timeline fits. Littlefinger and Lysa were most likely together in King's Landing when Robert Arryn was conceived. Fans reasonably debate over whether or not it would have been more strategic for Littlefinger to do it with her or to hold out on her. We just don't know, but technically it was possible. Littlefinger could be Robert Arryn's father. It's worth noting, however, that right before Littlefinger pushed Lysa out of the moon door, Lysa told Littlefinger that she would have given him a son had they not taken away their child with moon tea. That implies that Lysa did not believe that Sweetrobin was Littlefinger's son, and we don't have any concrete proof that he is. But there are several conversations with peculiar wording that comes across as an Easter egg if and only if you believe that Littlefinger is Sweetrobin's true father. Most notably, that line that we went over in the very beginning. The very first time that we ever heard about Sweetrobin was Robert Baratheon saying, "The son is not the father." Unfortunately, there really isn't any way for us fans to find out one way or another. But if you choose to see it the way that some of us do, if you choose to believe that Littlefinger is Sweetrobin's father, the story is enriched in two ways. First off, there's irony in King's Landing. Stannis had discovered that Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen were not really Robert's children, and Stannis told this to Jon Arryn.
His last words were, "The seed is strong."
Meanwhile, Jon Arryn had been trying to foster Robert Arryn with Stannis Baratheon, and Robert Arryn may not have even been his own biological son. Oh, the irony. But the best part of the theory is the color that it adds to Littlefinger's arc. As of A Dance with Dragons and the Winds of Winter sample chapters, Littlefinger has been slowly poisoning Sweetrobin with sweet sleep or sweet milk. If Sweetrobin is Littlefinger's biological son, that means that for the sake of power and control, Littlefinger is not only poisoning a child, he is unknowingly killing his own son, just as Theon did to the Miller's boys. Regardless of whose child Sweetrobin actually is, George R.R. Martin is a wizard. Right before the story started, Littlefinger convinced Lysa to poison her own husband, Jon Arryn, and Lysa poisoned him with the tears of lice, or Lys. Nice little play on words there, and it gets better. Littlefinger told Lysa to poison her husband, and now Littlefinger has begun to poison her son. Wonder if Lysa's ever heard the saying, "Karma is a..."
Peter!
Side note, how little is his Littlefinger?